Hey, it's Josie. This is a very bad angle. So if you're on my channel, I've posted like baby movements from my first pregnancy, and I've done some updates on the second pregnancy I had and the recovery from that. And I actually had a third pregnancy and I lost the baby. It was a pretty traumatic experience. It was a miscarriage. It's gonna take me a while to get this video out, and it's gonna be really bad angles probably. I have a tripod now, but it's emotional, and I had a miscarriage. I had an appointment at a local hospital instead of doing the birth center route, and they did a pap smear and everything, and I got to see the baby because they couldn't find the heartbeat with the Doppler, and the baby was alive and well, and so I spent the rest of the month being all happy. That was like October 8th, and I went to see my mom and everything, and then at the end of the trip there was some bleeding, very light, but it was, disconcerting. I never had that with any of my previous two pregnancies. So when I got back to my home area, I had an appointment made to just make sure it was okay. They said it's probably just because you're having relations with your husband. Did the ultrasound, baby measured the same size it was the last time I saw it on the ultrasound, and it really breaks my heart. And I sometimes wonder, was it because they did the pap smear? And there's a lot of people who speculate on that. No way to know for sure, but I definitely know with future pregnancies, I will refuse pap smears. There's a lot of women who have concerns about it, and if anyone has actual studies on it, that would be amazing, but I can't really find studies on it. Just people saying it's not a thing, but without any studies. It's just, there's not much, but I'm absolutely happy to hear about it. If it's happened to you, or if you can have information proving that it's truly a coincidence. One thing for me is it was missed, so I thought I was around 15 weeks or so, 14 weeks. I don't really have the dates. I'll probably do a more in-depth video in the future and hide this one, but I just need to get it out there. Baby measured the exact same size it was. I saw it, or about the exact same size I saw it the last time it was alive. And I opted to do a D&E the next time it would be available, because obviously my body wasn't doing anything about it. And so I got all that news on a Friday, and by was it Sunday, I actually had the baby, and it was like this big. It was a boy too, and so I don't know, I thought I was gonna have him on Saturday, October 29th, because I actually had the waves of contractions for like an hour to 90 minutes, and I didn't. My husband said, maybe just go ahead and sleep. If you can get rest, do it. And so I did that. I woke up, no more pain at all, pretty painless. And I had told my mother and my grandmother what had happened, and so they rushed up, and within an hour of them getting to my house, I started to get a little crampy once my mom told me we're 30 minutes out. And then within an hour of them being at my house, I was like I just had back pain, like very similar to when I had first gotten pregnant, the back pain I was having. And I had, within the last 30 minutes, this just instinct to clean my bathrooms. I was like, I need to clean them. I really need to clean them. I didn't think it was going to happen that soon, but part of me hoped. So I just went crazy, and I cleaned those bathrooms. I got my husband to clean them with me, and instead of using the bathroom near my kids' room, I was in the master bath. I told my husband, I gotta pee. No contraction. Maybe like a mild dull cramping, but it was like the day before, I actually had the waves of contractions. I had maybe had 2 or 3 what felt like good contractions, but I wasn't having one in that moment. And I just said, I gotta pee. I go drop my pants. I go to sit, and as I am starting to crouch, the water immediately broke, like when a balloon slams on the ground, and it just like broke out of me, and the baby shot and slammed on the side of the toilet bowl into the water. And I was so thankful. I didn't want to have him in the toilet, but that's what happened. But fortunately, I had cleaned it, and not only did I clean the toilet, I had flushed it before I peed, because I was like, I don't want chemicals splashing on me if I'm all exposed from, you dilate and things, if that's why I was cleaning. I don't know, I just had like an instinct. So I fished him out of the toilet. Salt was a boy. Cried. And I had, teariness and blood. And long story short, the placenta wasn't coming out. Part of it did. It was coming out in ripped chunks. And then it just stopped, and it was just hanging between my legs by like this much. Just there. And all my contractions or cramping or whatever, like all the cramping, it didn't feel like contractions, it just felt like cramping. It wasn't really painful at all. It all just stopped. And so I called the emergency, or like was it the nurses that you call after hours if it's not like an emergency to the ER, but still very concerning, and you're trying to figure out if you need to go. And they told me with the retained products I shouldn't have to, but I just felt like I really needed to. I was getting lightheaded, and my temperature was dropping, and I had experienced some level of what I imagine is shock from a motorcycle crash before, where I just was like, stay awake, because I didn't want to pass out and wake up in a hospital to have a giant ambulance bill. And I did. I pulled through just fine. I stayed awake, and I was able to say, I don't need anything. And it was a minor crash. I toppled the bike at like 35 miles per hour. And I had a bunch of gear on, so I was able to walk out, get the bike towed home, and it was all good. But for this, there's just something that felt off. And I went to the hospital and still bleeding, and I didn't know. They asked how much blood, but I said, I've been sitting on the toilet. I don't know how much it's been. I've maybe flushed 3 times. No further questions beyond that. I didn't know. So I go there. I'm wearing the always, not even a period pad, the giant ones, the largest like incontinence pads. And within 40 minutes, I had entirely filled it with blood. I didn't know that I was hemorrhaging, and so they had put us in a room. My husband was with me at the ER. We ended up just going. I was like, I don't know, I'm getting dizzy. I think I'm having severe shock, but something tells me I need to go. I didn't know I was hemorrhaging. And it was a really bad experience. They didn't even make sure I had the call button on the bed. After being there for a while, someone else, like one of the ultrasound techs who came in to check on me, in view after an emergency of me blacking out and my husband apparently running to get people. I have no recollection of that. I had blacked out, turned blue. Someone later fished out the call button for the bed, but it wasn't in my reach. It was like behind all the very end of the hospital bed by the wall. So we didn't know how to get anyone. He had to run out and find people. And by we didn't know, he didn't know, because I was just passed out. And I had ended up losing, they said, half of my blood volume, and that I would need to sign or to do a transfusion just in case, that they wanted to. I was able to avoid it because I didn't really want one. I just had trust issues with that, and I was able to avoid it. But yeah, I was obviously severely anemic after it all. I would love to do a more in-depth video, but that's gonna be hard. I just wanted to share this, and I will probably do one more simple follow-up talking about having recovered from the anemia, but I just need to get in the habit of sharing these videos again. So I got the all clear to try again. My first period was really weird. I had cramping and back pain for in an excess of 2 weeks and like 2 or 3 days, starting around week 6 post-op, and then I finally got the period to go with it, and it was really disconcerting because, you know, bloating, pains, and I wasn't bleeding, but I also wasn't pregnant, and I had gone to the ER again because I was scared, and my husband had a work trip coming up, and so he's like, you should go, because if it's yet another bad experience and you don't know, because I didn't know I was hemorrhaging, then just make sure you're okay, or if something's really bad, make sure you caught it early. And they seemed to think it was okay, but they were going to give me a blood test, and as the nurse told me to roll up my sleeve, the doctor said, you don't have to do that, and she said, okay. I felt really written off in my concerns. They just gave me a pelvic exam and sent me on my way. That was it. And she just kept saying, you're not pregnant, the doctor, that is. I know, that's why I was there. They did a urine test at the end of the day, but I'd been doing them in the morning for like 10 days because I was not sure why it lasted 2 weeks. But it's really weird. I just was an extremely squeaky wheel to get oil. I just wanted to see an ultrasound to make sure I didn't have anything like scarring or anything weird or something missed, because I had seen that if you are going to have complications after that kind of post-op procedure or hemorrhage, the incomplete miscarriage is what does it. And I finally got a doctor who was like, you need an ultrasound. I think you're perfectly fine, but you need one for your own peace, and to not be so freaked out. And so he ordered one for me later in the week. But this all happened recently. The timing just doesn't work out in terms of, like, I'm not giving you good times. But so about, 9 weeks out? No, 8 weeks out from when the D&E happened, I got an ultrasound, so I can tell you there's no weird stuff. There's no like scarring or adhesions or adhesion bands or scarred band, whatever it is. Like, there's no Ashermans or anything, and so I've been told that I'm good to go. So hopefully sometime before the end of the year, I will be able to post about pregnancy 4, child 3, and hopefully it will be full term. I kind of embarrassed myself by my husband and I sharing and announcing our pregnancy, thinking we'd made it to the 2nd trimester online. So I don't know if I should share this sooner or if I should share it later. Not it right now if it's a thing, but I don't know if it's the kind of thing where I will be posting once I've hit 14 weeks, which was my original plan, or if I'm going to wait until after an anatomy scan. I guess if you're really invested in my my journey, you could share, or if you're just someone who happens to have been recommended this video from a micro channel about it, I don't know if it would be therapeutic or just stressful, because sometimes even, you know, random encouragement from strangers can be nice, especially if you feel like you can't explain it to family. But I don't know, that's what I'm wrestling with. If I want to update like once I've hit week 8 with any future pregnancies, or if I'm gonna wait for 20 weeks. I have a different channel that is just entirely other things, that I haven't posted to in a while, but this one is specifically pregnancy, health and progression and recovery. So that's why I'm just leaving that here. I don't know. I felt like I needed to share this because I've been not sharing anything. And just to hold myself accountable with my own health, because grief does make you want to do self-destructive behavior sometimes. But yeah, so that's what happened. I did have a third pregnancy, and it lasted up into 11 and a half weeks. And then suddenly I had 0 symptoms, and I thought I was great, just reaching that second trimester level, and then found out I lost it at about 3 weeks, and 3.5 weeks to 4, somewhere around there, because you don't know exactly when the baby went. Then I had the baby, and I had excessive hemorrhaging, and my blood levels are entirely back to normal. So I am entirely in the clear to try again. So hopefully sometime in February, I will know that I have a 4th one on the way. And then I just don't know how soon to share, to keep track again. So thank you for listening. If you watched the whole thing, if my reactions and angle is weird, well, sorry, not sorry. I want to start posting some stuff again. And I might try and do one, but I'm not going to hold myself to it. I might try and do one more video that's a little more in-depth on the anemia and the recovery from that. Since that is, postpartum, at least post-pregnancy recovery that some other people might experience. So we'll see. If I do it, it will be within the next 2 weeks. And if I don't, then it just 2 weeks and beyond, then it's not happening. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. And I hope no one else has gone through this kind of thing, but if you have, you are not alone. And my heart goes out to you. I know firsthand what it's like. So, bye.